Screen actors, what are 5 words that no actor ever wants to hear? You're a one-note actor. Ooh, those words sting. One-note acting usually happens when actors haven't clearly defined and discovered their beats in a scene. In this video, you're going to learn everything about beats so that you will always give an interesting performance. Number 1, you're going to learn to define beats clearly. Number 2, you're going to know exactly what kinds of beats to look for. I'm going to give you a simple formula so that you'll always know what you're looking for. And then toward the end of the video, I'm going to show you exactly how to look at your scenes and break them down quickly and effectively, identify the beats, name them so they're playable, and the result will be that you will always be compelling to watch. If this is your first time visiting this channel, definitely click subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. I'm Louis DeBianco. I've been a screen actor for more than 40 years, and this is Screen Acting Success. Okay, let's get into it. What is a beat? Dramatically, a beat is defined as a unit of action, but what does that mean to you? To make it simple, let's say that a beat is simply a change. It's any kind of change in the scene that demands a change from you, either in your behavior or in the way you say your lines, or both. And now, what are the different kinds of beats that you could possibly find? Here's the formula so that you won't miss any of them. I call it the BET formula. That's it. 1 word, 3 letters, B-E-T. The B is behavior change, E, environment change, and T, topic change. Let's look at all 3. By behavior change, I'm talking about the behavior of the other characters that change toward you, that demand some kind of change in you in the scene. Here's an example. Let's say you're in a scene and you're talking to a very good friend who's just come over to ask for a big favor. The person wants to borrow the brand new car that you just bought yesterday. You know, I mean, it's your baby. You couldn't even stand a speck of dust on it. God forbid an accident. And you know this person's driving habits and they do not impress you. So they begin by asking you politely and you say no. And then they begin to charm you and try to butter you up and you say no. Then they come back and start begging, and finally they begin to bully you. They try to guilt trip you into feeling that you owe them this favor. So the one-note response would be a brush off, an impatient brush off for every single time they ask. So you're going, no, 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 no. It's a choice, but is it the most interesting one? What if instead of that, when they politely ask, you give them a nice soft apology in your no? Could be no. And then when they try to charm you, you humor them. No. Then when they start begging, you belittle their begging. No. And then when they start bullying you, you respond by overpowering them. No. Now you've got variety in your scene, in your responses. Which is the more interesting way to go? Environment changes. There are 2 different kinds of environment changes. The first one is personal, and the other one is impersonal. The personal one involves the entrance or exit of another character in the scene, another person in the scene. Example, You're having a romantic dinner with a very special person, and you're in a restaurant in a nice, almost secluded table in a corner. And while you're in a very, very intimate moment of the conversation, well, the waitress comes by to serve another table, but she's very close to yours, so she can overhear you. If your tone doesn't change, if your volume doesn't change in the scene is going to begin to feel fake. You'll be playing one note. Chances are the audience is going to feel that, and they're going to pull away. What about an impersonal change? Something happens in the environment that, a physical environment that demands or would suggest a change for you in the way you're going to perform or behave. I'm going to use an example from a great movie. The film is The Godfather Part 1, and the actor, of course, was Marlon Brando. This is the opening scene of the movie. Don Corleone is sitting behind a desk. Just as they were about to shoot the scene, in the scene, when you watch the movie, you're going to see that Corleone, while he's talking, is holding a cat. He's stroking it very gently. Here's what actually happened, because you would assume that the cat was written into the script, but it wasn't. What happened was that just before the cameras began to roll, the cat kind of just wandered onto the set, as a cat will do, and Brando instinctively picked the cat up, held it, and began to pet it. The director allowed that to stay there because he knew it was a great move. Why was it a great move? Let's think about it. Don Corleone is the head of an empire of crime. The action is a very gentle action. That opposite of the criminal who does evil things and the very gentle behavior enriches the character, makes him more attractive to us, it wins us. That was a beautiful use of a change in the physical environment. Some changes in the physical environment are so obvious that, you'd have to be in a coma not to adjust to them. Like you might be at home having dinner with a friend, and suddenly you smell smoke, you turn, and there's a fire in the kitchen's ablaze. Well, that's a change in the environment that hopefully you will adjust to. Okay, environment changes. That takes us to the last one, topic changes. Let's talk about these as either changes in topics of conversation or a change because of a new piece of information that comes into the scene that you happen to discover. The first one, let's say we're in a scene, it's a drama, a detective drama, and you're playing a character who's being interrogated about a crime. The detective is asking you, where were you at 9 p.m. on Tuesday night? You say, I was home. What were you doing? I was watching TV. What were you watching? A Netflix series. What series were you watching? And you name the series. You were watching the, what's that latest one about chess? The Queen's Gambit. And the next thing the detective says is, well, maybe he plays along with you and he says, was it good? Oh yeah, it was really a great series. And then the next thing he says is, then how come you show up on this surveillance camera at exactly 9 p.m. that night? Now, you continue to answer, but if something in your tone doesn't change, if something in your physical behavior doesn't change, an adjustment that you take sitting behind that interrogation desk, then you're guilty of playing one note. Here's an example of the other category of topic change, where it's really new information that you discover on your own. You're a woman in a scene with your husband, and you're talking to him, and you take a step closer to him, and suddenly you notice a mark of some strange lipstick on his shirt collar. You don't say anything, it's not written into the script, but you take the adjustment, and the camera will read your discovery. That is a new beat. Those are the three kinds of changes or beats that will happen in a scene. Behavioral change, environment change, topic change. Now, as I promised you, how do you find your beats and how do you analyze your script so that you can always give a great performance? Well, I'm going to assume that when you get your sides, the very first thing you do is you read the scene through slowly, silently, and you look for the emotional journey that your character is on. You discover that, and then you make a decision about what is your one intention that you're playing in the scene. Now, I'm not going to go into intention in detail. I mean, books have been written about intentions, but I did cover them in other videos. One that comes to mind is movie audition secrets. There it is on the screen, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. After you've done that basic homework, now you start reading the scene mechanically, very, very slowly, line by line. Because, well, first of all, how long is a beat? There is no rule for that. A beat can be one line, it can be 2 lines, it can be 10 lines. It can also, a beat can change within a line. So you start looking, and when you see that some kind of change has happened, let me give you an example of one that happens within a line. You're in a scene and you're saying to somebody else in the scene, I absolutely will not be part of this deal. It's not for me. And then you pause, you take 3 steps across the room, turn back and you go, on second thought, I will do the deal. Well, there's been a major change. That is a beat change within the line. So each time you find a beat change, or you find a new beat, you draw a line with a pencil right underneath the line where is the line of demarcation between the 2 beats. You keep doing that until you've identified all of them. Then you count them. You might have, let's say, 10 within a scene. Now here's the really important thing. For each beat change, you choose a new tactic. A tactic is an action, and you write what that is in the margin right next to where the beat begins. Let me be clear. Some people will write, okay, there's a beat change and this one is angry. Don't do that, because it'll lead to playing emotions instead of actions and intentions. Let's say it's a beat for 8 lines and you've chosen to define the action as angry. Well, that means it's really going to be one note, because all of your lines are going to be angry. It's always a verb phrase, just 2 words, the word to and a verb. For instance, in this beat, to intimidate. In this beat, to charm. In the next beat, to sympathize with. In the next beat, to frighten. In the next beat, to overpower. In the next beat, on and on and on. But each of those verbs will demand a different tone of voice, a different physical behavior from you, and that is the way that you will assure that your performances have color in them. They always look for the colors that you bring to any audition that you do. So decide, do you want to play your scenes and paint your scenes as a dull gray? Or do you want to paint them with a rainbow of interesting and surprising colors that always keep the viewer glued to the screen and involved in your performance? Which do you want to have? I would love to hear what you've gotten from this video and share it with the rest of the world in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to do it now and give the video a thumbs up. In addition to the link to the other video, Movie Audition Secrets, below, I'm also going to put a link to the new online course I've created, Self-Taping Mastery. Visit the site, find out everything that you'll get if you choose to take the course, and then just make a decision if it's for you or not. And until the next video, always feel it, say it, mean it, book it.